Well, I was getting myself ready for a TWID today, and of course that may still be a thing, depending on the details, but Bungie actually went ahead and dropped the hype today, and that comes in the form of a trailer for Ash and Iron. Kinda caught me off guard, to be honest, because Bungie haven't been doing as much sort of hype marketing in recent times, but today we get some for the Plaguelands. So we see some of the Plaguelands reclaim activity, as well as some new weapons, armor, and exotics, plus Bungie teased the upcoming exotic mission, and even some of the dungeon lair content that we're going to get in Pinnacle Ops, so it's nice to feel excited, I suppose. Aside from D2's other issues at the minute, I'm actually looking forward to Ash and Iron, not only because of the new content, but also the promise of adjustments to progression in the game, improvements to the portal and all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to talk about what Bungie have revealed today. If you guys find this video interesting or insightful, then a rating below very much helps us out. But now let's get into it. And we should start by initially checking out the trailer in full, so here it is.
The Conductor's forces are rampant in the Plaguelands. We're sending you in to investigate and take action. Be ready for anything.
To the next assault point. Make every shot count, my friend. It's good to carry a gun. Better to have gun carry you.
Stay in the fight. We're almost home.
So, there we have it. Actually, a pretty exciting trailer, really. Bungie do have a history of making pretty good trailers. This is the first time for a little while that I've actually felt a bit of excitement looking at this, and there's quite a lot to unpack here, realistically. So, first, to give a bit of flavor, Bungie say the Conductor has breached the heart of the Vanguard's power, return to the Plaguelands, secure powerful Golden Age salvage, and defend Earth in the new Reclaim activity, available in the Ash and Iron September update. Looking at the trailer itself, I want to talk about Plaguelands initially. One of the things I'm most pleased here to see is that we actually spot numerous different bubbles of the Plaguelands zone, which indicates that it's going to be an expansive piece of content in that regard. Obviously, it doesn't mean we're getting an explorable Plaguelands in the traditional sense, but if anything, this kind of reminds me of the Nether in episode Heresy. Obviously, we're seeing some of the new activity content there in the form of the Reclaim activity, and the NPCs kind of reference pushing into a new zone, and we spot at least 2 or 3 of the major Plaguelands areas from Destiny 1 here, so sort of indicates that this will be a large activity with regards to the explorable zone. We do see a few different bits of Warmind themed loot here as well. Looking at the Siva components on the Plaguelands, they appear to be sort of dormant. Obviously, this zone is now infested by Cabal and Vex, as influenced by the Conductor, and there are some visual updates there that represent that too. Very early on in the trailer, we spot a new weapon here. Kind of reminds me of one of the rocket pulse rifles. This could potentially be one of the exotics for Ash and Iron, where Bungie have referenced both a kinetic and heavy slot weapon being introduced. This could be from the season pass or indeed the exotic mission, but it looks pretty cool nonetheless. Give us your thoughts about it. We also see a bunch of legendary weapons that appear to have a similar theme, starting with the rocket launcher right here, and then the Guardians transmatting into a ship. We see a bunch of armor that appears to be tech-sec as well, or at least it looks very similar, possibly a new variant of it. Before too long though, the teaser moves on to dungeon lairs, which Bungie have said will be select encounters from particular dungeons. So we see Warlord's Ruin initially, also the Pit of Heresy, and Duality. There's a shotgun here that reminds me of Siva stuff a little bit, probably just the color scheme. It does also have a Crucible icon on the side, so not necessarily a Siva weapon. There's a new rocket launcher there as well, which fits into the same set as things like Ahab Char. This was in one of the trailers for Edge of Fate, but obviously is being released with Ash and Iron instead. So at least 3 dungeons will feature into the dungeon lairs. And then a return to the Plaguelands once again for the final part of the trailer to preview the Warsat Heist, a new exotic mission. So probably diving into one of the bunkers beneath the Plaguelands. Looks like we may adopt some of the Cabal's buffs with those sort of orb shields around the players. Loads of Warmind architecture, but also an infusion of all this sort of blue geometry, which is actually reminiscent of some of the legendary weapons, just like the rocket launcher that comes back up on the screen right here. And then we have Compete and Collect, the Call to Arms event. This is actually going to be an intrinsic part of launching the Ashen Iron update, according to Bungie. And in this section, they show off things like the Mida Minotaur, as well as Sturm and Drang, and we had a preview of some of the changes coming up to those exotics and the pairing legendary weapons just yesterday. And here there are a couple of frames showing off some new weapons. So there's a new SMG, which has a strong Warmind theme to it. We spot the shotgun again here. Obviously these are going to be new portal rewards. And then Sturm and Drang in action against the Vex in yet another bubble of the Plaguelands zone. So looks like the event component will also be housed on the Plaguelands, so there'll be a couple of new activities there by the looks of things. And to finish, showing some more gameplay of the SMG, and this very interesting clip of a crossbow, which is actually strung with these kind of metal cables. I'd be willing to bet that that is an exotic weapon. Certainly appears to be a notch above the crossbow that we got from the raid, for instance. And from the dialogue, suggesting that we'll be carried to some capacity in this event, we actually see a Guardian seemingly jump into a brig mid-combat, so that component from heavy metal will find its way into other PvE content in this update as well. The very last thing is a relic weapon. I'm assuming it's a relic weapon we can pick up during these activities and not an actual collectible weapon that we can keep. If that is the case, then that would be absolutely awesome. But again, I would reiterate, I think Bungie actually have bought the hype with this trailer a little bit. And importantly, also keep in mind that this content is going to be free to play, so you don't have to own Edge of Fate to get the major update, I don't believe. For the moment though, guys, there we have it. Some new exotics in there, definitely. New weapons. What appears to be a substantial part of the Plaguelands. My worst kind of nightmare for the Plaguelands, that it would be a small season-style activity that only exists in maybe one area. And while I'm not saying it will be explorable, it certainly looks like it's going to be a significant space, perhaps not dissimilar to something like the Nether, which I think is a relatively exciting prospect. Either way, if you're interested in continuing to play Destiny 2, especially as we move from having solo ops and the current content offering, yeah, things can surely only get better from here. So pretty exciting stuff. Also, I just realized that that relic weapon is actually reminiscent of Young Wolf's Howl in its sort of animation behavior as well, given the link between Young Wolf's Howl and the Plaguelands, of course. Who knows, it may indeed be a collectible weapon. Give me your impressions below, guys, but for the moment, if you've enjoyed the video and found it interesting, a rating really does help me out on the channel. Be sure as well to get subscribed and I'll keep you posted with more content, but otherwise, cheers for watching, and I hope you guys have an awesome day.